again in a new episode, live from IBC in Amsterdam. And I have with me Lewis Smithingham, the Senior Vice President of Technology and Innovation at Media.Monks.
That's me. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem, thanks for coming. Lewis, yesterday you announced a new product with Media.Monks. Media.Monks, a huge company at the moment.
Massive company, 9,000 people spread all over the world. My job is to look at new ways we can generate revenue, and in particular, because I come from an image-making background, I tend to generate stuff in that space.
Okay.
So we launched two tools. So one is a integration system and implementation system partnered with NVIDIA, which is software-defined broadcasting.
Okay.
So that takes your traditional virtual machine type broadcasts and slims it down to being only defined and containerized on the GPU.
Okay.
It's far more sustainable, it's far more cost effective, and in this day and age where we're delivering to really a lot of different formats, it's far more flexible. The other tool, because we felt like being busy, was I think that fans are different now, and the way that we view sports is changed substantially to how people did back in the day. I think football in the UK is a sport that was designed literally around lunch breaks and tea breaks for minors. Mm-hmm. And so the way it's watched and consumed is based on that technology, which is very old. And we see trends, not just us, but PwC, Deloitte, and others see trends where younger viewers, particularly younger viewers, want to watch shorter clips and want to pay for those shorter clips and want to engage with those clips and want personalized content and interactive content. So we designed a system that basically takes an image or keyframes out of a replay or highlight system and custom builds personalized highlights and highlight reels for an individual fan. Right. So for example, if you're a fantasy sports fan, a fantasy football fan, right now when you play fantasy sports, you get an email the next day or a notification. It's like, look, your team did this.
Right.
Cool, where's the story? Where's the entertainment in that? Other than why don't you just send me an Excel sheet? Yeah. So what we want to do is, and what we are doing, is instead of just getting that little brief, you'd actually get a highlight of how your team performs.
You get it in real time, or is it the day after?
Be the day after, but we can deliver it relatively close to real time. Again, it depends upon the quantity of footage, the level of analysis, the level of complexity that we're running, the number of personalization variables.
So it's an after-game analysis, personalized?
Yeah, we can do it during game as well, but keep in mind, so when our advertising business, any user may have up to 3,000 data points on them. Again, it runs the gamut from what time of day it is, to what your favorite music is, to what's in your Amazon cart. And we take that information and we personalize the highlights to you, specifically also so that you stay engaged. I think that's a major part. And so we see this birth as a part of this of what we're calling affinity sports networks. So in the sense that I'm a sneakerhead and I'm also a metalhead, I'm maybe watching sports and I want to hear about the metalhead version of it, or I want all the music on the show to be music I like, or just the sneakers from a sport. It's about personalization and identifying and engaging with identity.
How is it delivered?
It's just a video clip.
It's just a video clip.
So we built it, we have a social takeaway system that we use for most of our major experiential events. So sort of like you go through a haunted house and they send you clips of you going and stuff like that. So we took that same system, ran segmentation data on it, so that's effectively object recognition.
Yeah.
And then are taking our econometric and advertising data and combining that in. So you might, for me, if for basketball, I might get a highlight reel of all the shoes that were in the game yesterday or in the Lakers game, because Celebrity Row there has some amazing sneakers, and it might be set to Metallica. Okay. And when I describe that, I'm like, yeah, I'd watch that. I'd watch that the whole way through, particularly if it's a good song. And so the goal is to get to that space. Now let's take it a step further from an advertising perspective. Mm-hmm. We've got to make money. So what if I'm watching that during March Madness? Where I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, go Tar Heels. And as part of that, March Madness has one of the highest rates of pollen in all of the United States. in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
So chances are, if I'm a sneakerhead who's watching basketball, NCAA March Madness in Raleigh, there's a pretty good chance, as long as it's not raining, that I'm suffering from allergies. So then you start thinking, okay, so why don't we place that information with an allergy brand?
Okay.
And the idea, again, is to take broadcasters and give them the ability to extend their broadcast rights and to extend the opportunity for fans to be more than just home and away.
You're totally personalizing the broadcast experience.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a broadcast experience anymore. It's a totally personalized experience.
And we see this with software-defined broadcasting. It doesn't seem crazy to think that in a few years' time or in the next year, there will be multiple broadcasts. In the same way you have different commentators for broadcasts, you might have I'm not a big fan of the New Orleans Saints.
Okay.
But there's a band called Pantera, and the singer of that band loves that band, that team in a way that it's just unfathomable.
Okay.
And one of the most fascinating things for me as a metalhead is to listen to him talk about the New Orleans Saints. It makes a topic that I'm not interested in really suddenly very dynamic and interesting to me. So is it crazy to think that the New Orleans Saints might carve off a version of their broadcast, a clean version, and sell it out to Revolver, which is a common metal magazine, or a hip-hop version that goes to Complex magazine?
Right.
I think that's the direction we're seeing
The
where...
whole cross-pollination that comes out of it, thanks to the personalized service
and also thanks to, if we're on software-defined systems, we could deliver to 6,000 different locations if we wanted to. More than that, it's just a matter of how many GPUs we have access to.
It's a very brand-centric experience, I guess.
Yeah.
From what I learn right now, how do the users react to these ideas? Have you tested it out?
Yeah, I mean, I tested it out on myself initially, and we have tested it with a couple other folks. And look, it's brand-centric because ultimately, and I hate to say it, particularly in the United States, broadcast is backed up by advertising spend.
Sure.
It's just how it is.
It's not an opinion.
I mean, it feels controversial, but the thing is what's crazy to me is why am I getting the amount of money you spend on an ad, and we do this, we place ads during a major football game, is a ridiculous amount of money. But you're just taking this bizarre shotgun approach.
Make it much more relevant.
That assumes that everybody is just definable by their location, rather than all the different factors that make up us as rich, interesting, non-AI human beings.
Right.
And so the goal here is to create content that people actually want.
Okay.
Because I think, to a certain extent, like advertising should serve a utility.
Right.
If you're serving me an ad about the latest Metallica record and the latest Jordans, the new Jordan Spider-Mans, which are gorgeous and amazing, and funnily enough, I never saw ads for, that's a utility to me. That's something I'm interested in, and a brand is going to be very interested in sponsoring that to scale it.
The general strategy behind it, is it to move against Facebook and its hyper-personalized advertising?
No, it's moving in favor. I think personalization is a great thing. I love not having my time wasted.
Right.
And I think...
So it's an answer to the old, traditional broadcasted commercial.
Well, there's a thing like with personalization where I think there's this mentality that your phone is spying on you, or that's just not true. We're a set of data points ultimately that are, depending upon how well the AI is performing at any given time,
right,
might be a fairly accurate prediction of what we're going to do.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I think personalization is an absolutely amazing thing. And as a fan, if you're giving me things that I'm interested in, send me ads about GPUs, send me ads about the latest Starfield. Don't send me ads about diabetes medication. Why did you spend that money? And why did also, for the record, you waste my time? You took my existence from me by forcing me to watch this thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think the opportunity for fans and for brands and for leagues and for rights holders is to provide their fans with content they want, personalized for them, and given to them in a directed manner at scale.
Very clear. And timeline-wise, are you rolling this out now?
So software-defined broadcasting is available right now as an integration service, an implementation service, and a consulting service. It does take quite a bit to spin up and analyze your systems.
Right.
A lot of broadcasters are still, and like big broadcasters.
What's the window to kind of like?
Well, it really depends on
order
where you are
and-
already. So like, there's a lot of broadcasters that are still running copper cables for everything. And so to jump from copper cables and weird boxes with fans inside of them that only do one thing is a big jump.
Will that be the biggest challenge?
That's the biggest challenge. I think there's this mentality that you can't crimp IP. So, it's black magic. Well, not black magic the product, but like as in it is a dark art. And I think, but if you have a broadcaster that's already on cloud, that process to switch to software defined is going to be very fast.
Right.
If you're already there, it's very easy.
They already did the first transition. They're at
Correct.
step 2
And your
now.
staff, like that's another thing we talked about today. Like, you have to have a whole different type of staff than what you're used to. Like, you have engineers who not only are video engineers, but they're IP engineers. They're cloud formation experts. They're solutions architects. It's a different set. And that's going to require significant change. The replay tool, again, comes into effectively how much do you know about your audience? And what does your audience like? You look at some of the leagues, particularly I think underdog leagues, where they aren't broadcasting necessarily to traditional terrestrial, but have massive audiences on YouTube. I think those brands tend to know, and those leagues tend to know their fans a little bit more.
Those are the first clients?
Yeah.
Those are the digital first video production companies?
Absolutely, yes. And new sports.
And of course, Okay.
Yeah, it's exciting
That
stuff.
makes sense. I was thinking the traditional way, and I didn't see
No,
that
this is specifically antithetical to the traditional way. We're not saying that the traditional way is wrong.
No.
But we are saying that broadcast hasn't substantively changed in 59 years. Like, let's just be really honest.
I know.
And the way we consume media has changed radically. So why not change the way we make it?
I fully agree. Well, thank you very much,
Thank you.
Louis, for being here. That was Louis live from IBC in Amsterdam. This is the last episode of today, but we're back tomorrow with more.
the finale, right?
It's the finale. It's the grand finale. And we'll be back tomorrow then.
Thank you so much.
Have a great night.